guys are very hard working people. And also I would like to say thank you to Bangladeshi who come here to Malaysia to do our hard work job in Malaysia, such as a building, a road, and all that. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum. Amarna Maria.
Assalamualaikum. Amanam Rabia.
Welcome to Malay Gerak channel. Today we are going to react on a video how climate change impacting Bangladesh. And the channel is
Philip Lazaro.
Let's watch it.
Let's.
I think that this might be the most misunderstood country I've been to so far. And that's saying something. The places I go tend to be complex. But Bangladesh, you took it to a whole different
Imagine the
level.
energy.
Yeah.
I'm now a bit embarrassed to admit my initial impression of Bangladesh was more than a bit off.
Mendayung.
I had these mental images of poverty, overcrowded slums, and impossibly dirty air. Of course, these things will be found in Bangladesh. Its capital city, Dhaka, holds distinctions like
the most polluted city in the world.
The most densely populated city in the most densely populated country on earth.
But these labels are simply way too one-dimensional for a place as layered and intense as Bangladesh. They don't tell you about Bangladesh's unlikely and unprecedented rise from poverty to a surging economic powerhouse.
Because of the population.
They won't tell you all the reasons Dhaka has become packed with the struggles and dreams of its newcomers, and how this points to the ways we all are connected. This is a complex, intense place. This is Bangladesh.
I think he should.
Now we're floating on the Buriganga River, an important passageway that has always served as a route for trade, for commerce, and for livelihoods in Bangladesh. Now connects people from climate-vulnerable situations to the hope, the potential, the prospect of new lives and new opportunities.
It's only happening.
Like most journeys to Bangladesh, mine begins in Dhaka. I'll be honest, when a city is most known for pollution and crowds, it doesn't exactly shoot to the top of my list. But you've probably heard me say it before. There's always more to the story. Upon arrival, first impressions live up to the hype. Crowded streets, traffic, warm temperatures, dust and tannish skies. And all these things are at their mildest. I'm apparently here during the gentlest part of the year, winter. In a few months, the temperatures will soar, haze will intensify, and the patience of the crowds of people here will wear thin. What is it about Dhaka that makes it so crowded? All across the world, cities are growing. In lower and middle-income countries, about 10% of the population has moved from a rural to an urban setting in just the past 4 years. And this trend is likely to continue, especially in the Sahel, Central America, and right here in South Asia. So, as all this is going on globally, why does Dhaka stand out? Before my arrival, I did some research. Okay, so I've been looking into this, and it looks like there are a few different reasons people say Dhaka is so especially crowded. It's a city of dreams and ambition. Rural people head to the capital hoping to improve their standard of living. They want to put their kids in a better school. They want to get jobs in factories and business centers. It's a pretty standard explanation. This makes sense, but it's not unique to Dhaka. This happens in pretty much every country where you have one predominant metro area. Some people are saying the design of Dhaka distributes people and activity in a way that just makes it more congested. And there are a lot of people online who especially want to pin this on bicycle rickshaws. I did not know there was a pretty big movement to try and ban them. I mean, the image of Bangladesh without its bicycle rickshaws is hard to imagine. It would be like the US without cars. These are hallmarks of Bengali transportation, but yeah, I get what people are saying. They're bulky, they take up space, they move slow. Guess some folks are willing to make that exchange. Maybe Dhaka is simply a microcosm of Bangladesh as a whole. See, Bangladesh has the 8th largest population in the world, but compared to the other countries on the top 10 list, it has nowhere near the amount of space. It's bordered by India on 3 sides, and to the south, the Indian Ocean. And every year, it loses more and more land due to sea level rise. This is where we're starting to unpack those layers. The city of Dhaka is bordered by rivers, which bring people to the city, but also make it harder to expand and make infrastructure for all those people. I think if you're trying to understand Dhaka, one of your best bets is going to be to start at the river.
Basically, 300 and 400 years ago, Dhaka started to grow by the bank of Buriganga. And over the course of time, with the population pressure, it started to grow towards the north and northeastern part of the city. Though there was one unique thing for Dhaka, which is bounded and surrounded by 4 river systems, basically, Buriganga, Turag, Balu, Shitaloka. These 4 rivers are, it's like a natural protection system for those days. But it has a limitation, which is it did not allow you to expand unlimited. But we have another big problem, which is with the structure of the river. But the reason I'm telling all these things is river is the basic ecological organ in this land that actually influenced the human settlement everywhere.
So this brings us to the Buriganga, the main artery for life in Bangladesh. Here we find boatmen waiting to transport people across the river or further downstream. So we're at the Dhaka riverfront right now, and we're trying to see if we can talk to one of the boatmen. From what I understand, many of them are displaced from the south of Bangladesh due to climate change, and now operate boat transport here as a new means of survival. We're going to try and hear one of their stories.
আমার কামরুল হাসান প্রতিদিন নৌকা চালায় 13-14 বছর তো দক্ষিণের থেকে মানে বরিশাল থেকে ঢাকা কেন আসে তিন কামের জায়গা আমাকে লিস্ট করে ফার্ম করছে এই জায়গায় কাজ কাম করুন আর লবণের পানি বাড়ছে না কমছে আগে থেকে লবণের পানি বাড়ছে এখন সেজন্য দাম পান হয় না তখন মোটামুটি আপনার চলে এখন মোটামুটি চলে হালকা ভাবে মানে ইনকাম কম হয় আচ্ছা তো ওই এলাকা থেকে মোটামুটি ভালো
Talking to the boatmen at the Buriganga helped me realize most of the workers you'll find at this river aren't from Dhaka. They've come from other parts of the country looking for work. I was also told that for a look at the bigger picture, I should come by in the morning.
All happening in
So,
other countries
I did.
as well.
Okay, we're at the loading port of the Buriganga River, right here for a lot of people.
Because in the city
immediately come
there's
to Dhaka and don't
more
have any
job
opportunities to work.
opportunities.
This might be one spot where you can
With the
find a way to
better
make a quick income. Folks here are loading up sand and building materials off of a boat and bringing them over to the loading yard. It's intense work. It's all physical
Need
labor.
a balance.
It's only
Yes.
just gotten started. It's a bit past 7. Sun's not even up yet. It's still cool. It's not going to stay cool. So most people carry around 200 loads of these a day. Each load merits about 2 cents worth of pay. Someone told me I should get a look from inside the ship, which meant literally walking the plank. I had all kinds of expensive camera gear on me, and I didn't want to go so slowly that I held up all these busy people at work. But eventually, I was talked into it. They make it look so much easier than it is. All right, guess we made that crossing successfully, and now we know what goes on that ship. This coal and cement right here will likely be used to build more infrastructure around Dhaka. There is a huge demand for that. Ironically, this demand grows as people come for jobs like this.
আমার বাসা হলো চাপাই নবাবগঞ্জ তাও মোটামুটি 30 বছরের
Years.
না আসা যাওয়া করে এটা আসছি কালকে পরশু দিন এসছি চলে আমার কোনো সবাই এই নাই যে খালি চালাই বাড়ি ঘর নেমে গেছিল তাও এই তো 3 বছর আগে নদীর ভাঙনে চরবাটা গাড়ি নন গোটায় ভেঙেছে 4-5টা ইলা গাঁলিয়ার মধ্যে
ওখানটা কাজ করে নদী সিরেছ আমরা এইদিকে থাক সব খালি নদী আর এসে রুজান থাক 3 বন্যার আগে ঠেলা গাড়ি বেশি ওই ওখানে যা গাড়ি আর এখানে ওর কাম করে 5-7-8 বছর হয়েছে মনে হয় এই ঘাটে
আপনার সারাদিনে কতগুলাই করে
200, 250, 300 খুব টাইনে টুইনে
or they put the support on the head.
Even women do
Yeah.
These jobs are difficult,
They are very
but people are working
hardworking.
them in an attempt to increase their incomes and improve
Every
their
day is
lives.
heavy.
Yeah.
When it comes to
And
poverty and economic growth,
Then it's like
Bangladesh
their
has had
shoulder
an
and neck
unusual
must be
trajectory.
the
stiff.
nerve rate.
Bangladesh
Yeah.
gained its independence in the 1970s. That story was a violent and messy process and takes a lot more time to unpack properly. But it left Bangladesh's population really disadvantaged. It only had a life expectancy of 45 years and a literacy rate of 20%. So, how did Bangladesh move forward? You might be wearing the answer. Clothes. Check the tags. This country established itself as the epicenter for textile production. And perhaps some of the most widely known things about Bangladesh are its garment factories. Up till now, half of Bangladesh is employed by clothing production. And this coincided with the era of fast fashion to keep a
But do you
steady
know
demand.
there is a huge
Of course, this isn't something you can talk about in black and white terms. It led to huge economic advancement for
in the
Bangladeshis, and
clothing
4/5 of these
industry.
workers are women, but at the same time, it was
Like
catastrophic for the air and water in the
would be
country, and the
very,
conditions
very,
for
very,
workers
very
were
low
often brutal.
price,
We
low
do not have any
salary.
comprehensive
But
study
they say
how
the
much
growth is
destruction
very
it
with a
had.
high
If we
price.
calculate it properly, I think garments is a disaster for this country, not a blessing.
An 8-story building collapsed today, killing at least 145 people.
That said, the basic income helped workers get to the point where they could unionize, bargain for better conditions, educate themselves and their kids to find even more work opportunities, and this created an interesting dynamic. Your average Bangladeshi worker has surpassed your average Indian or Pakistani in terms of income, and the life expectancy has gone up to 72. Bangladesh is at least 75% literate, and these are massive improvements in only about 2 generations worth of time. Many people see Bangladesh continuing this trajectory, and that would make it a $1 trillion upper middle income country by the year 2040, surpassing places like Thailand, Vietnam, or the Philippines. But if it's going to get there, it needs to contend with a few things, among them climate change, and the fact that, to get to this point, many of its people were subject to really difficult lives. Just across the river, we came across a section where old, non-functioning ships were left. People were coming up to these ships to take apart different components so they could be
Some of this
reused.
guy make a
This
YouTube
was the
channel
loudest spot I came upon in Dhaka,
to
a city already
show
known for
they
being
repair
loud. But the
the.
constant pounding of hammers on steel drove home the repetitive intensity of where we were.
Oh, still a boy. Teenager.
In the alleyways,
Is it
people
Tunisian
welded,
or what?
hammered, and cut through steel. I heard plenty of stories about people's physical injuries while working these informal jobs.
Oh,
and then
that's why
I
they're
nearly saw
wearing
one.
that.
A group carrying a large panel of metal nearly dropped it
support.
on a few people's feet. So I've been seeing people who work some of the most difficult jobs out there, and they all come from the southern part of Bangladesh. Many of them have had to move here because of water salination, because of climate change, because their old lives weren't livable anymore. And now they're here working these jobs that are incredibly physically demanding and unsafe. And this is a consequence when you don't have a safe and resilient home. The bigger story behind Bangladesh's rise, the crowds and congestion in Dhaka, and the future of this country were starting to come into focus. From the boat rowers of the Buriganga, to the welders in the alleyway, to the people bringing coal back and forth from the ships. I hadn't met any who were originally from Dhaka. Dhaka's working class largely comes from the country's rural areas. Many are displaced by cyclones and rising sea levels. Many were used to farming until the salination of their farms obliterated their harvests. Other people lost homes in storms, their displacement being much more instantaneous.
A tropical cyclone is strengthening in the Bay of Bengal.
Bangladesh is one of the countries at the forefront of the Vulnerable 20, a group of climate-vulnerable countries. Their geographic location, socioeconomic conditions, and rising population
Bangladesh is one of the most climate vulnerable countries.
Whether it's the toxicity of rivers like the Buriganga, the traffic around the streets of Dhaka, or the heat waves that take a deadly toll on South Asia every year, the dangerous jobs millions of people have to work, or the dangerous air quality throughout Bangladesh, threads of climate change are interwoven throughout each story.
But when they start
But of course,
scary,
there's more to this story. Soon I'll be leaving Dhaka for the Sundarbans, the southeastern coast of Bangladesh, where sea level rise has taken its toll. But I'm not just going to show you scenes of devastation. I've been told that this holds one of the few important success stories on climate resilience. Success stories that the rest of the world urgently needs to learn from.
okay. We are sorry for what you are facing in Dhaka, especially Dhaka, Bangladesh. You guys are very hard working people. And also, I would like to say thank you to Bangladeshi who come here to Malaysia to do our hard work job in Malaysia, such as a building, a road, and all that. Thank you so much. But hopefully your government will do something for your people so that you guys can have a good job opportunity over there.
At least this the salary won't be too low.
Yeah.
And yeah, we understand the population in Bangladesh is
High.
yeah, very high. Yeah, the government need to do something like I don't want to say control the population because
Yeah, they should just create a new job opportunity.
yes, create a better opportunity. Yes, better option.
And offer
Better
the
salary.
higher minimum salary for the local people.
They set the limit,
Yeah.
the minimum. Like for example, in Malaysia, we recently we have increased the minimum salary to 1,500 ringgit.
Yeah.
Before that,
1,300.
1,200.
Yeah, 1,200.
Okay, 1,200 ringgit, and then now currently, the minimum salary everyone, government job or government sector or private sector, both minimum salary is 1,500 ringgit. Yes, you might think that this is wow, it's a lot. No, not really, because of we all have to understand that the goods here in Malaysia also in high price.
Inflation.
So, yeah, due to inflation. Same goes to Singapore. That's why we have our Malaysian, especially in Johor area near to Singapore, our neighbor. So they stay in Johor, but they work in Singapore because of the currency. So yeah, if they stay in they work and stay in Singapore,
there's
no
nothing.
point.
Yeah,
There's no point.
The salary is same lah. And
Yeah.
if you work in Malaysia.
So same thing. If Bangladeshi come here in
Malaysia.
come to Malaysia, earn and then send to Bangladesh. Okay, fine. But if the whole family, Bangladesh family, come here, stay here, the cost will be more.
Yeah, it's
so it's same.
Yeah.
No point.
That's true.
Yeah.
So thank you so much to this guy who make this video.
Yeah.
We can see what climate change can affect Bangladesh. Especially Bangladesh is always flood, affected by flood. So,
Because of too much water, right? Because of the location,
yes.
the geographical.
Yeah. So I think that's also can be solved if the government do something about it. Maybe
The barrier or something, right?
So yes, we just pray for the best to Bangladesh. Hopefully you guys can have a good life very soon, inshallah. So thank you so much to those who recommend us this video. We enjoy it. If you like this video, please share this video to your family members and friends. Don't forget to share it to your social media as well. Please subscribe our channel Malay Reacts and turn on notification button so you guys won't miss our latest video. Please follow our social media account, Facebook and TikTok, Malay Reacts. Thank you so much. See you again in my next video. Bye. Assalamualaikum.